So my story time with LinkedIn. At the end of 2019, I had just overcome being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and depression and anxiety and burnout. Now, in that time, I was on Universal Credit, and by November 2019, I was tired of being broke, quite frankly. Universal Credit can only stretch so far, and as an ex-investment analyst, I was used to having more money to play with. So I would be getting a lot of calls from recruitment consultants asking to represent me because I was a sought after candidate in the space I worked in. However, the moment I said to them that I needed an organization that understood flexibility for disability, then the phone line went dead. At the end of 2019, specifically December, there was a job opportunity that came about. I was the only candidate underneath consideration. So I thought, Eureka, this is my job. On top of that, it was also a job that I could do with my eyes closed. So on top of that, I found a needle in a haystack, a part-time job with a top investment management consultancy company. Eureka, let's go. I then got a call from the investment consultancy company saying they decided to go a different way with another applicant, someone who they previously worked with, i.e. better the devil you know. I was devastated. I put on a chick flick and I said to myself, Sabira, you have 2 hours to cry. You can eat this chocolate, eat this popcorn, but when this movie is over, we need to start finding solutions. And so I'm an economist at heart. I decided that I wanted to know what the statistics were like because I couldn't be the only person with an acquired disability who's unable to get back into a job market. So I started researching the statistics for disability and I was outraged. At the time, the unemployment stats for those with a disability without a job was 55%. 55% of people with a disability wanted to work, couldn't get a job. Yet those without a disability, the unemployment rate was only 5%. So I decided I needed to tell someone about my story. This was not okay, and people like myself deserve jobs. And so I knew Facebook wasn't the place to do it. And I thought, should I go on LinkedIn? Now, up until this point, LinkedIn intimidated me. Like many of you, I looked at LinkedIn as the place where the corporate professionals, the elites in the city, go to just tell everyone what they're up to and what they're doing, the high flyers in the corporate spaces. And as an ex-investment analyst who was just recovering from burnout, depression, anxiety, and MS, that wasn't me. But on the other hand, I knew that if I wanted a job, I needed to go straight into the top dogs. And so I did. I went onto LinkedIn and I started looking for all the C-suite people in the investment world. I wanted the CEOs, the CFOs, the CIOs, all the people who had the power to get me a job. I was incredibly audacious. I went onto Google, I looked at who was the top dogs in these firms, I found them on LinkedIn, and I started sliding into their DMs saying, hey, I've got an area of opportunity for you. Let's have a coffee and conversation. And to my surprise, they agreed. And they started inviting me into their offices to have these conversations. Now, spoiler alert, I did not get a job, but what I did discover was a career. I soon realized that I much preferred having conversations with these people, talking about how they could improve the overall company and the people in their company, than sitting on the third floor somewhere writing reports that they're never actually going to look at. And that's where things started. So I went onto LinkedIn and I started creating posts about corporate burnout prevention and called myself a corporate burnout prevention consultant, a job title that had never existed before, but I made it up. One of the great things about LinkedIn. Within a few months of creating posts from January 2020 to August 2020, someone reached out to me and asked if I could sit on a panel and be their resident race and wellbeing expert. I said yes, and then on that panel was the head of D&I at Channel 4. And she said to me after we finished the panel, hey, Sabira, I need you to come into Channel 4 and do a talk. I thought she was being very British and just being polite, as you know, we do. But sure enough, in a few weeks, she reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked me, could I come into Channel 4 and do a talk for their race network? And that is how Channel 4 became my first client.